Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the greatest recordings ever. And today we're talking about Shostakovich's Jolly Symphony Number 14, 11 poems about death, one of the most harrowing, dark, absolutely brutal pieces of music anybody ever wrote, but at the same time, it's extraordinarily beautiful, and some would argue extremely realistic. Shostakovich had a view of death that was just the opposite of the way we usually find it portrayed in music. That is, suffering alternating with transcendence, consolation, all of those things. For Shostakovich, death was just ugly and brutal and miserable, and he was going to tell it like it was, with the idea, he claimed, of having people appreciate even greater the beauty of living, of life itself. Now, whether it achieves that particular end is up to, I would say, personal interpretation, but it is an extraordinary piece of music, unbelievably intense expressively, and as I said, often hauntingly beautiful. I have kind of a personal relationship to this work in some ways. It was very funny. Some funny things have happened in connection with this symphony, so I just thought I would tell you about them because it's fun. First, there was an absolutely splendid concert performance conducted by another expert in the art of the bleak, Krzysztof Penderecki, with the New York Philharmonic. And I was with a friend of mine, and we went to the concert, and it also featured on the first half Penderecki's Die Natura Sonoris number 2, which is this avant-garde tone cluster thing where you attack a filing cabinet with a hacksaw and things like that. And then his viola concerto, which is even darker and bleaker and grayer than Shostakovich's 14th. That was the first half. Then the second half was the Shostakovich 14th, and it took place during a snowstorm, during which everybody was fleeing the hall, whether because of the music or because of the weather. Well, the weather provided an excuse one way or another. And by the time the thing was over, there were about 5 people left, including me, of course, and my friend. And we applauded madly, which, 5 people applauding in an empty Avery Fisher Hall in those days was quite a hollow sound, kind of appropriate to the piece, actually. So that was step 1. Step 2 in my wonderful encounters with Shostakovich's 14th Symphony came from the fact, well, there's actually 4 of them, that one of the singers in the U.S. premiere, Phyllis Curtin, was a stalwart at my prep school, Hopkins Grammar in New Haven. She was teaching at Yale, and at the time, and her daughter was in 1 year ahead of me, and I knew her quite well. And so she was sort of buzzing around at the time that she made the recording with Eugene Ormandy, which was kind of exciting, and it was wonderful to know her because she was a fabulous singer. She would come and give master classes at my high school, and we got to use her box up at Tanglewood periodically because she was often at Tanglewood doing her thing up there too. When I saw her singing up at Tanglewood, she wasn't doing Shostakovich. She was singing Cole Porter songs, which is a little bit different from Shostakovich's 14th. And then I was visiting my very, very good friend, Herr Dr. Sören Eller in Munich, and good old Munchkin, and he had tickets to see a concert, and at the concert was Shostakovich's 14th. I didn't know that was on the program. He just said he had concert tickets. And since I was visiting for only a couple of days, he wanted to take me out. But it just so happened that the day I was there was Mother's Day, and I felt very guilty about going out to a concert on Mother's Day with leaving his wife home with the kids. So I said to him, look, you two go to the concert, and I'll watch the kids. I think that's only reasonable, so he could have a nice evening out with his wife. So they went out to the concert. And when I came back, I said, how was it? And his wife said to me, well, I said to Sir, what was on the program? He said, Shostakovich's 14th. I said, well, why didn't you tell me, for heaven's sake? How could you take her to see that on Mother's Day? Good grief. So that was that. And then finally, last but not least, when I was running the Cannes Classical Awards at the MIDEM convention in Cannes, France, One of the events we had one of the years was to give Lifetime Achievement Awards to Msistlav Rostropovich and Galina Vishnevskaya, and they both came, which was lovely. And we and other members of the jury, we got to have dinner with them after the awards ceremony, and I was sitting next to Vishnevskaya, and we had a chat about this very symphony. And she sang it to me. We were at dinner, in between the appetizer and the main course. She said to me, "Oh, yes," I said to her, that was such a gripping recording that she made of it. And she said, "Oh, yes, it's really an amazing work." And then she started singing, "Tree, lee, tree, lee, tree," like that, and in the middle of the restaurant. And, she looked at me and she said, "Oh, very, very beautiful, but very, very sad." I said, "Yes, it certainly is, isn't it?" So anyway, all of which is a long way of saying that one of the greatest recordings ever is this one with Rostropovich and Vishnevskaya. Now, there were two sopranos who were actually scheduled to sing at the premiere. One was Vishnevskaya, and the other was, what was her name? Something like Marina Minchikova or something. You'll tell me what it is. I never remember her name. She actually made the first recording on Melodia as well. Shostakovich reportedly favored the other soprano, but this became the famous recording anyway. It is one of the first and greatest evidences of Rostropovich as a conductor, and it is a performance of white-hot, insane, blazing intensity. It really is. You've got members of the Academic Symphony Orchestra of Moscow, whatever that was, and Vishnevskaya, the soprano part, and Mark Reshetin is the bass. My God, is it powerful. Devastating. Absolutely devastating. I mean, some of the tempi are really frenetic, like the second movement, Malaguena, which is jump, ba-da-da-dum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-da-da-dum, ba-da-dum, schmerk the schwa, that sort of thing. Well, this is jump, ba-da-da-dum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-da-dum, screechy, screechy. Oh my God, anyway, they're screaming and shrieking all over the place. It's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. It's unquestionably a great work. It meant a tremendous amount to Shostakovich. It's not the kind of thing you want to listen to every day, for sure. But this recording, which is on Warner, it was actually licensed for Melodia at one point, but it's a live recording on Warner, and it's just unbelievable. And fortunately, they didn't remake the 14th Symphony when they were putting together the Rostropovich-Shostakovich cycle. They used this one. Because how could it be bettered? I mean, it just couldn't be. There was never going to be a performance like this. Everybody is in top form, and they just go straight to the lacerating heart of the work. And it's amazing. Certainly one of the greatest recordings ever. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me, and take care.